Okay, good morning, everybody. This is kind of a fun time of year for us when we do the persuasive speeches. And the reason that we're doing this is largely because of this prompt right here. It was from 2004. It was the argument. And I call it the open argument. And it's an opportunity to tackle a controversial issue that you're passionate about and then write about it persuasively. So we'll be doing this prompt practice this week. But keep in mind, this is what sort of inspired the persuasive speech. It says, contemporary life is marked by controversy. Choose a controversial local, national, or global issue with which you are familiar. Then, using appropriate evidence, write an essay that carefully considers the opposing positions on this controversy and proposes a solution or compromise. So you're trying to come up with a strong call to action. And you get to really talk about anything. And so that kind of leads us to, for my class, you get to look at the speech topics. And I've said, two people per topic. And I would love if one person was like pro this thing and one person was against it. And so then it'd be kind of fun. We can have you guys go the same day. So let's take, for instance, should more PE in schools be required to deter child obesity? And some people are going to say yes. Okay, that's really a national issue of controversy, because as we read this year in one of our articles, some say we need more math and science. Even there was a past STEM synthesis essay where we need more math and science. And if we need more math and science, something's got to give. And usually what gives is PE and the arts and music and theater. So that's a good one. So choose two, you write your name and you write yes or no. I see someone already wrote their name here and no. That's great. So choose one topic and then your name, yes or no. If there's already two names, then you got to skip it and come up with something else. But keep this one in mind. This is the end game. Okay. They haven't done this for 20 years, but who knows? Maybe they'll do it again. Okay. And what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? So I know as a high school kid, I was like, I didn't know that much about current events. I didn't read lot of books at the time. Okay, but you're in AP English. We've read a lot of books this year, and this would be a good one to talk about Fast Food Nation. I'm just saying. I know that's my soapbox this semester. Fast Food Nation, Fast Food Nation. So even Devil's Highway is great with the immigration policies. That's certainly a global issue. It affects not just us or Mexico, but Central America as well. So anyway, that's what you're going to do. And then there's an outline for it. And so you want to follow the outline. I like to have an intro, some sort of attention getter. Okay, this should be fun. We're going to have to listen to like 34 of these in each class. So hook us, then a bond link to audience, number 2. So if your position is, we need to put people in jail for driving while talking on the phone. Okay, that's the only way we're going to solve this problem. Put them in jail for one day. Okay, and that should be a good deterrent, because if you give people a fine like $250, okay, someone who's very affluent, $250 is nothing for them. Okay, so that's just a slap on the wrist. Bond link to audience. My example here. How many people you have seen them coming out of our high school and they're on their phone while driving? Raise your hand. Okay, that's my bond link to audience. Credentials. Okay, you're a licensed driver. You've done a lot of reading on this. You've read statistics and data from the National Transportation Safety Board. Objective. What is your goal? What is your claim? Okay, and then sort of a preview. I'm going to prove to you that this is the best position because of X, Y, Z, okay, body of your speech. Start with the concessions up front, okay? You can do concession, 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 and then you can do counter, 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 or you could do concede, then counter, concede, then counter. I realize throwing people in jail for texting and driving might seem extreme. However, the current policies in place from state to state are not working. People are driving and texting, and people are dying because of it. Accidents are at an all-time high. Okay, so I conceded, it's extreme, and then I countered. Okay, Do 3 of these. Then you go into your reasons, subclaim, give support. Do you have a subclaim, and then do you have facts to back it up? Do you have stats to back it up? Do you have ethos to back it up? What's your analysis? Give your commentary. Do you have an anecdote to back it up? And this is where you could kind of pull away from the podium and tell us a story, okay, about how that one time you were driving and you had your, I was driving, my kids were in the back, we're stopped at a red light, ready to turn right on red, and boom, got hit from behind. I guarantee you this guy was on his phone, okay? Guarantee. There's no other reason that he would hit me, okay? Because the light was clear as day. And he said, sorry, and he was apologetic. So subclaim 2, transition to that. This should be your strongest one. And if you're going to have 3, save your strongest one for the 3rd. This is the reason I say this should be your strongest is because you want to end with your strongest. This is the last thing we hear before you hear your conclusion. Same format. And then give us your claim in another phrasing, reword it, and use pathos. What's your call to action at the end? I encourage you to. Let's all do this. Sign now. Make a decision to. So that's the outline. That's the persuasive speech. This is the goal. Be prepared for any sort of curveball the College Board throws us. Persuasive speech. It should be fun. It could come satirical. It doesn't have to be. But try to stick to the list that I have provided and pick one of those.